The creation of the world is the greatest story ever told. God created the world from nothing. Darkness became light, empty spaces became lands and seas, and a lifeless world became full of living creatures. It all happened because God spoke. In the beginning, there was nothing like the world we know today. There were no mountains, no rivers, no trees, and no people. There were no animals running across fields or birds flying in the sky. Everything was empty and covered in darkness. There was no shape or form. There was only deep darkness everywhere. The earth was without order and empty. Then God began his work. God spoke, and his voice filled the emptiness. "Let there be light." Immediately, light appeared. The darkness that had covered everything was broken. Light spread everywhere. God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day. He called the darkness night. As the first day came to an end, something wonderful had begun. On the second day, God spoke again. A great space appeared between the waters. Some waters remained below and others were placed above. Between them was a vast open space. God called this space the sky. Now there was a place above the earth. The empty darkness was slowly becoming organized according to God's plan. As evening came and morning followed, the second day was complete. Then came the third day. God gathered the waters together into one place. As the waters moved, dry ground appeared. Large areas of land rose up from beneath the waters. Hills and valleys began to take shape. Shores formed where the land met the seas. God called the dry ground earth. He called the gathered water seas. But God was not finished. He spoke again. Suddenly, green plants began to appear. Grass spread across the ground. Small plants pushed through the soil. Trees grew from the earth. Some carried fruit, others carried seeds that would produce more plants. The land that had been empty was now covered with life. Every plant grew exactly as God commanded. Every tree produced fruit according to its kind. The earth was becoming beautiful and full. When God looked at what he had made, he saw that it was good. The third day came to an end. On the fourth day, God turned his attention to the sky. He created great lights to shine above the earth. First came the sun. Its light filled the daytime. Then God made the moon to shine during the night. After that, countless stars appeared across the heavens. They spread across the sky in every direction. God placed them there to give light and to mark days, seasons, and years. The sky that had once been empty now displayed God's power and wisdom. The fourth day ended. On the fifth day, God filled the waters and skies with living creatures. At his command, fish appeared in the seas. Small fish moved through the shallow waters. Large creatures swam through the deep places. Every part of the sea became full of life. Then birds appeared. Some flew high above the earth. Others glided over the waters. Their wings moved through the air as they filled the skies. For the first time, the world echoed with movement and life. God blessed these creatures and told them to multiply. The seas and skies became busy with living things. The fifth day came to an end. Then came the sixth day. God created animals to live on the land. Many different creatures appeared. Some were large, some were small. Some moved quickly, others moved slowly. Animals began to fill the forests, grasslands, and open spaces. Each one was created according to God's plan. There were animals that grazed on plants. There were animals that climbed. There were animals that crawled. Every creature had its place. When God looked at them, he saw that they were good. But God still had one final creation to make. Then God said, "Let us make man in our image." God formed the first man from the dust of the ground. Then God breathed into him the breath of life. The man opened his eyes. He became a living person. God called him Adam. Unlike the animals, Adam could think, speak, and understand. He was created to know God and care for God's creation. God placed Adam in a beautiful garden called Eden. The garden was filled with trees, plants, and flowing rivers. Everything Adam needed was there. God gave Adam work to do. He was to care for the garden and watch over it. As Adam explored the garden, he saw many animals. God brought the animals to him. Adam gave each one a name. He carefully observed them. Yet among all the animals, there was no companion like him. God knew Adam needed someone to share life with. So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. While Adam slept, God took one of his ribs and made a woman. When Adam awoke and saw her, he was filled with joy. At last, he had a companion. God called her Eve. Adam and Eve lived together in the garden. They were surrounded by God's goodness. There was no pain. There was no sickness. There was no fear. There was no death. Everything God had created worked together perfectly. The rivers flowed through the garden. The trees produced fruit. The animals lived peacefully. Adam and Eve enjoyed fellowship with God. Then God looked over everything he had made. He saw the earth. He saw the seas. He saw the sky. He saw the sun, moon, and stars. He saw the plants. He saw the animals. He saw Adam and Eve. Everything was complete. Everything was exactly as he intended. God declared that it was very good. The sixth day ended. Then came the seventh day. God had finished all his work. Nothing more needed to be added. The world was complete. God rested from his work and blessed the seventh day. He made it a special day. The finished creation was a world filled with life and purpose. The empty darkness from the beginning was gone. In its place stood oceans, rivers, mountains, trees, animals, and people. Everything existed because God had spoken. Creation was not an accident. Every part of it had been planned by God. The stars in the sky, the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, and the people on the earth all existed because of his power. The world began with God's word. And so began the greatest story in all history, the creation of the world.